There's something so deeply impressive. Again and again it's demonstrated by the Royal Princess Anne, who has long been the most understated yet the hardest working member of Britain's monarchy. At 75, she still carries an astonishing engagement schedule, usually with minimum fuss, no entourage of stylists or photographers. And this week, she took that quiet dedication to an extraordinary place, war-torn Kiev, on an unannounced trip arranged at the request of the Foreign Office. And it wasn't a ceremonial visit, but an act of solidarity and empathy focused on the suffering of children caught in Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The most arresting image of the visit came at the Children's Memorial in the grounds of the National Museum of the History of Ukraine in the Second World War complex. More than 650 children have been killed since the invasion began in 2022. The site is a field of soft toys and candles, each one a wordless witness to stolen lives. Anne placed a simple teddy bear at the memorial, one that she quietly told Ukraine's First Lady, Olena Zelenskaya, had belonged to her daughter Zara. Zelenska, who was also laying a bear, turned and nodded. The gesture was almost unbearably human, a grandmother bringing a child's toy to mourn children she's never met but refuses to ignore. The Princess Royal travelled to Kiev by train. She met President Volodymyr Zelensky, handed him a sealed envelope with a red royal crest, believed to be a personal message from King Charles III. In their exchange, she struck a characteristically wry note. I don't know how you have the time to spare, but there you go, she said, acknowledging his impossible schedule. Yet the symbolism was serious. Britain's monarchy aligning itself publicly with Ukraine's fight for survival and with the plight of its youngest victims. Zelenska, meanwhile, showed her around programs designed to return and rehabilitate children taken into Russian-controlled territory. Anne's itinerary went beyond memorials and official photographs. She visited the Child Rights Protection Centre, where families are reunited with children forcibly deported or displaced. A tragedy so grave that the International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for Vladimir Putin and his children's commissioner. She met veterans in rehabilitation, sat through a canine therapy session for trauma, spoke with female police and armed forces officers protecting women and children, and viewed exhibitions chronicling Ukraine's resilience in places like Kherson. She also stopped at St. Sophia's Cathedral, a symbol of Ukrainian heritage that Russia has tried but failed to erase. The British royal family has no command over armies or budgets, but retains a rare moral power. It can turn a human tragedy into a matter of shared conscience. Anne's visit came just days after a Russian missile and drone strike killed 4 people, including a 12-year-old girl in Kiev, an entire family obliterated by the envy, the jealousy, the anger of a mad president in the Kremlin. Dead or alive, who knows? Against that background, her quiet presence, Anne's refusal, the princess's refusal to grandstand her deliberate focus on children's trauma rather than military spectacle were powerful. The king himself has repeatedly voiced support for Ukraine's sovereignty, but Anne, famously unsentimental, brought it down to a single devastatingly personal act, one teddy bear, one grandmother's grief for strangers' children. Princess Anne is not glamorous, not theatrical, not seeking headlines. Yet in Kiev today, she embodied something rare in public life, principled service. She travelled without advance warning, without advance publicity, comforted bereaved, encouraged those returning stolen children, and saluted Ukraine's defenders. In an era when politics is too often a theatre of ego and spin, her trip was a reminder that quiet, steadfast solidarity can matter more than the loudest speeches. Britain should be proud that its Princess Royal, practical, unshowy and indefatigable, chose to stand with Ukraine's youngest and most vulnerable on one of their darkest days. I take my hat off to the Princess Royal, to Princess Anne, and to Prince Harry, both of whom have recently been to Kiev and demonstrated our commitment as a country to Ukraine's solidarity and resolve and resilience. Well done.